You think this is debate club, boy? Judge Richard Caldwell sneered from the bench, his gavel tapping lazily against polished oak. You're facing felony charges, not some high school argument. Laughter rippled through the Harris County. Courtroom. The bailiff smirked, arms crossed. The stenographer tried to hide a grin behind her hand. Even Prosecutor Elliot Barnes chuckled under his breath, his expensive tie gleaming under the harsh lights. At the defendant's table, Marcus Reed, 19 years old, didn't flinch. He stood tall, chin lifted, hands tucked casually into his pockets. His dark eyes were steady. Grand theft auto. Resisting arrest, Caldwell muttered, flipping papers as if they were beneath him. You'll be lucky if this ends before my golf game. More laughter from the gallery. To them, Marcus was just another reckless teen who thought he could beat the system. Another mugshot waiting to happen. But Marcus had been preparing for this moment all his life. Marcus grew up in a two-room apartment with peeling wallpaper and a mother who carried the weight of 2 jobs. By day, she worked as a paralegal's assistant, typing motions and filing briefs. By night, she waitressed at a diner, her feet aching long after midnight. She had wanted to be a lawyer herself once, but money and circumstance clipped her wings. She never stopped studying, though. Her shelves sagged with legal texts, constitutional law, criminal procedure, case law digests. She scribbled notes in the margins, highlighted entire paragraphs, muttering court rulings to herself while stirring spaghetti for dinner. Marcus absorbed it all. As a boy, he sat cross-legged on the floor, reading aloud from her manuals while she corrected his pronunciation. In middle school, he could rattle off Miranda rights from memory. By high school, he was quoting Supreme Court rulings during cafeteria debates. His friends laughed. Man, you act like you're already on trial. Marcus just smiled. Better to be ready than sorry. And now, standing in this courtroom, he realized he had been rehearsing for this moment since childhood. When Judge Caldwell turned to Marcus's weary public defender, prepared to bulldoze through the motions, Marcus placed a hand on her arm. "I'll take it from here," he said softly. The courtroom froze. Caldwell blinked. "You'll what?" Marcus's voice was calm, certain. "I'll defend myself." Gasps scattered across the gallery. A woman whispered, "Is he crazy?" A reporter's pen scratched furiously. Barnes smirked, licking his lips like a predator. "This should be fun." Marcus allowed himself the faintest smile. "Not for you." Caldwell leaned forward, incredulous. "You want to represent yourself against the state of Texas?" "Yes, Your Honor," the judge scoffed. "Fine. Dig your own grave. Proceed." The laughter that followed wasn't just ridicule, it was a dare. Everyone wanted to see Marcus fail, but Marcus wasn't here to fail, he was here to fight. Barnes rose like an actor taking the stage. His footsteps echoed against the polished tile as he approached the jury. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice slick with confidence, "this case is simple. The defendant was apprehended in a stolen Lexus RX. His fingerprints were found on the wheel. Officer Hayes, a decorated veteran, witnessed him fleeing the scene. The evidence is clear. The facts are undeniable, and the conclusion, I assure you, is obvious. Marcus Reed is guilty." He smiled, letting the words settle like dust. The jurors nodded politely. It sounded airtight. Barnes strolled back to his table with a swagger. Then Marcus stood. He buttoned his thrift store jacket slowly, deliberately. His steps were measured as he approached the jury box. "Your Honor," he said evenly, "the prosecution claims Officer Hayes saw me behind the wheel. I request his duty logs and GPS records from that night." A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Barnes scoffed. "This is a stunt. The jury doesn't need irrelevant paperwork." Marcus's tone was calm, surgical. "Then you won't mind producing them." The silence was sharp. Judge Caldwell raised an eyebrow. "Counselor?" Barnes hesitated. His jaw tightened. That pause was all Marcus needed. "Request granted," Caldwell said at last. Marcus's expression didn't change, but inside, a small fire flared. First crack in the wall, he pressed on. "As for the fingerprints, where is the forensic specialist? Who processed the evidence? Did the state subpoena their testimony?" Barnes shuffled papers. His voice wavered. "No, but the report is clear. So you want this jury to convict me based on science no one can question?" Marcus asked, his gaze sweeping across the box. "That's not justice. That's faith." The jurors leaned forward. The gallery murmured. The balance was shifting. Barnes tried to recover, but Marcus cut in again. "Let's talk about the Lexus's owner, Mr. Thompson. He told officers he left the car running at a gas station. He described the thief." Barnes opened his mouth, but Marcus's voice grew louder, steady, and sharp. "And that description was of a white male in his 20s. I am 19, and I am not white." Gasps filled the room. The bailiff's smirk disappeared. Reporters scribbled frantically. Caldwell banged his gavel. "Order! Order in the court!" But the tide had turned. Marcus turned back to the jury, his voice soft but cutting. "The only reason I'm standing here is because I was convenient, not because I was guilty." The room crackled with tension. By closing arguments, Barnes's swagger was gone. His voice cracked as he stumbled through his notes. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Marcus, by contrast, stood tall. He didn't pace. He didn't shout. He spoke with calm conviction. "I was accused. Because it was easy," he said. "A young black man near a stolen car? That was enough for the system. But easy does not mean true." He paused, letting his words breathe. "Yes, my fingerprints were on the car. Because I touched it after. It was abandoned, engine off, doors unlocked. That proves curiosity, not theft. No one saw me drive it. No camera shows me inside. The owner himself described someone else. And the officer who claimed to see me can't prove where he was without his logs." He stepped closer to the jury. Meeting each pair of eyes, "Tell me, does touching something make you a thief?" The silence was thick. One juror shook her head. Another frowned deeply. Judge Caldwell rubbed his temple. The arrogance from earlier was gone, replaced by something heavier, regret, maybe even shame. "Prosecution?" he asked. Barnes shook his head. His voice had vanished. Caldwell sighed, long and low. "Then all charges against Marcus Reed are dismissed." For a beat, the room froze. Then chaos erupted. Gasps, whispers, shouts. Marcus didn't move. He stood tall, face calm, chest steady. Inside, his heart raced like thunder, but he refused to let it show. Outside, the courthouse steps swarmed with cameras. "Marcus, how did you beat the state? What's next for you?" He ignored the questions until he saw her, his mother waiting at the bottom of the steps. Tears streaked her cheeks. She threw her arms around him, clutching him tight. "You nearly killed me with worry," she whispered. Marcus smiled softly. "Had to take the risk, Ma." Across the street, Judge Caldwell lingered by his car, watching. His sneer was gone. For the first time, he looked uncertain. "You should go to law school," he said quietly. Marcus met his gaze. "Already planning on it." And he walked away, free, not just from charges, but from doubt. Epilogue. The beginning. Weeks later, Marcus sat in the corner of a library, surrounded by towering stacks of law books. Headlines still swirled. Teen defends himself, beats felony charges. Courtroom shock. Judge schooled by 19-year-old. But Marcus didn't care about headlines. He thought of all the kids who never got this chance. The ones swallowed by the system. Never heard. Never believed. He opened a notebook and wrote in crisp, steady letters. "Justice is not given. It's taken. And I'm not done fighting." The trial wasn't the end. It was the beginning.